Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this initiative called as Saturdays for Sustainability Learning. And every Saturday, we connect with a goal to discuss sustainability issues. So, one new topic every week to understand sustainability in a holistic manner. So, with this is a mastermind group that you can expect. And if you are hearing this term for the first time, so that was coined by Napoleon Hill, the term mastermind group. And I hope this group will work with the concept of synergy. So it's nothing but the 1 plus 1. It's not just equal to 2. There are infinite possibilities. So with that concept of synergy, we would also like to have the synergy for learning. When two people come together, there is an invisible, intangible force, which is like a third mind. So we want to create that with this initiative. And what are the outcomes that you can expect? So first is definitely a learning one new concept every week, because in our busy schedule, in our day-to-day job, it's not possible to learn and keep pace with what is changing in sustainability. But definitely, the 1 hour with everyone's input, we can definitely stay ahead. Second is networking with fellow professionals and learners. You will get to know a lot. The people from different educational background, different geographical background, so that's helpful. Different opportunities, I would say career or learning opportunities. And the fourth one is the thought leadership in sustainability domain. So how do we connect? This is, I hope you already got this invite. So I have kept it's an automated process. So you will get the email and calendar invite. And also I have WhatsApp group. From this week onwards, I am also creating Google group to facilitate. It's easier to do, so that's why feel free to join any of this. And yeah, so this is how we connect every week. And what I believe is, I already told you informally, so discussion, question and answer is the best way to learn, and that is what we all believe. And yeah, so definitely we will connect every week. So welcome to the today's session, that is week 38 that we are discussing. And today I'm very happy to share this wonderful topic and wonderful expert, Mr. Nirbhay Lumde. So he is sustainability leader, he is author, and he has recently written a book called as ESG and CSR Strategies for Career Success and Corporate Responsibility. So this is his book, and the wonderful thing about this book is it captures both the buzzwords today in India, ESG and CSR. Both are hot topic in across the industries, right? So it would be great to learn from Nirbhay his insights into this topic. So I formally welcome Nirbhay to this initiative, and thank you so much for your valuable time. And yes, I hope.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
Okay.
invitation.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll basically directly we will start. But before starting, I'll just quickly share with all. So you can ask your questions in the chat. And I have a couple of questions already received to me, so I'll go ahead with that topic, so that the discussion will be in a flow. But please feel free to ask your questions in chat, and if you would like to add any insight or anything in between as well, please raise your hand. We would love to get your insights as well. Yes, so let's start now with very basic question introduction about the CSR ESG and your book, the topic. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dhananjay. I think it's an interesting era that we are living in. In fact, I say interesting because plenty of things really moved in, especially last 5, 6 years or so. While I am not limiting my thought process for India, but largely in the context of what's happening globally, it's while you keep hearing about sustainability, you also keep hearing about ESG, and then you also keep hearing about stakeholder management, shareholder management. It's really important for us that while you make profits as industry bodies or as a private corporation, what really being asked is about how are you making those profits? And if you're making profits, where these benefits are going to go? While I know that profits should make sense for the shareholders, but how about other shareholders and stakeholders who are part of the bandwagon? So therefore, keeping that in mind, and also the last 3 years or so post-pandemic world, we felt that world as one united segment. We keep hearing saying that each nation, while you have the corporations announcing that we want to be a little more, while we extract resources to make profits, but we want to be a little more uh, positive about what we have been doing. So it's really important to understand that a good number of private corporations are announced that they want to be net zero by 2030, 40, 50, 60, 70, depending upon what they are into right now. Interestingly, or convincingly, I think it also has happened that nations also have been announced saying that they want to be net zero by 2070, 80, or 60s, depending upon where they are right now. So therefore, given that some of these things are really important for us to keep in mind, and also it's important for us to realize that how do we really look at a realistic world? Because when we talk about ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance, there is always a reservation about, is it really real? Or is it that the corporations are looking at more like a greenwashing? Or is it ticking the box? So that was primarily my trigger point to bring about this book, largely talking about ESG and CSR. I felt in the Indian context, CSR, that's corporate social responsibility, has been there. While we hearing largely for last 10 years or a decade or so, but this has been there for quite long, especially for the population, the millennials are also, they have been hearing this last for 10 years. Then I felt, while we know that the CSR is going to be here, more of a compliance, but there is a larger picture prior to the act, a 10 years journey that we had, and maybe 10, 20 years later part of it. Because CSR as a compliance, CSR as a charity has no meaning. It's only about, you put in the money for the right cause and what next of it. So therefore, given the context of CSR going beyond the compliance, my thought process is how do we really integrate into a business practice? CSR cannot be in business practice unless it's part of your ESG journey. So CSR, when I talk about it, part of your company structure is all about having an ownership from the board, as well as from an accountability from the board. For sure, the minute it becomes part of your ESG journey, where it's more holistic. Within environment, you're looking at the pieces like emissions, how you're manufacturing, what's impact that you are having it. Within social, it's not just about corporate social responsibility. We typically call it license to operate. We also look at about gender, diversity, pay parity, especially the communities which see the corporate social responsibility we speak about it. We need to really go beyond. Governance, which is G, which we will talk about how are we really adhering to the local laws in terms of disclosures. These three critical really become part of it. Now, I also see a good amount of people, especially like-minded people, who want to switch over from their meaningful. I'm not saying that they're not. I think it's largely about looking at, I'm a techie, I am an expert in this space. I really want to make a difference. I want to do a purpose-driven engagement. So lots of people come and ask me, say, hey, we want to make a difference in the community with respect to CSR, and we want to really look at a career switch over.
Right.
Because a good number of people today do volunteering, but they really see, hey, volunteering is a good piece of more of a personal capacity, but I see myself as a can I make it a career? So therefore, this book that I'm speaking about is about the ESG and CSR, is largely about what is this all about now? It's about CSR, ESG, how companies are perceiving this as an opportunity, and you as an individual, how you can really make career out of it.
Right.
I am of the opinion CSR cannot be a charity. It has to create a shared value. Shared value has been there in the dialogue for almost 2 decades or so. You need to really see how you as an individual, when you want to really build a career, I know you can always build your career to begin with joining a non-government organization and look into it. But there are plenty of other opportunities today. You can be part of a corporate and make the difference. You really want to make the difference over the long term, long lasting impression. You need to see CSR and more of an ESG integration that really makes a difference. So therefore, this book is more about building that vacuum or maybe an empty space where see it more, the opportunity more holistically, and see how you can really make the difference, being part of your corporate journey, being part of your NGO journey, or you want to become part of an influencer, you want to part of an the consultants approach that you really want. So that's what this book is more about towards that journey.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it really makes a difference. And as I speak to you guys, I think I'm going to share the link. If you are really interested, you can always place it order if you really are interested. So I'll pause here, Dhananjay. If you want me to
Yeah.
ask more, I can always ask if there are any query that are there.
Yes. Thanks a lot for that introduction. And I would also like to understand more on the evolution of CSR and evolution of ESG. So how that happened for the profit-making organizations.
Yeah, so it's interesting journey. I think just before the precursor to this discussion, me and Dhananjay were closely talking about, are we hearing CSR for the first time? Absolutely not.
Right.
CSR has been there. Those of you are interested, my first chapter, in fact, my book talks about the precursor of the CSR story in India, are largely philanthropists have been doing great work in this world. Largely CSR, maybe a step back, charity has been there in the customs that we have been there. There are families who give away their 10% of their money towards the causes that they are interested in. Charity largely seen more of a religious act that you give away for a cause, and you
Mhm.
typically forget about it. It could
The
be
concept
money,
of
large.
dana that
Yeah,
we have.
Dana was there.
Mhm.
Shramadan, which is
Right.
volunteering, has been there in terms of those engagements have been there. So therefore,
Right.
the charity has been there. But however, if I go back and maybe I can take the liberty of quoting Tata's, wherever they have been there, with the cities that they have built in India, they have been doing for the long term. Globally, if you ask me, Bosch as one such entity, they run their business operations to their Bosch Foundation. So therefore, charity moving towards the corporate social responsibility has been there. It is going to be there. What
Mhm.
really triggered over last 10 years is about the act becoming mandatory for certain size of corporates becoming saying that, hey, spend 2% of the money towards it. Again, it clearly lays down saying that it's not about spending money for the sake of it. Build it like more like a program. There was a structure that is brought into it. You
Right.
had limited areas of that you need to intervene. You also need to have some kind of monitoring mechanism that has to be established. And that board has become accountable for such an engagement. So therefore, there is a structure, there is a formality, and of course, with the CSR being there 10 years, employees have really become critical part of it through their volunteering initiatives.
Right.
So largely, that's the evolution of CSR. Then, of
Mhm.
course, mandatory, not many countries have made it. But if you look at
Mhm.
European and North America, this has sustainability practices has been part of their engagement, though they do not call it. The way I see it, it's been now 10 years that we are into journey. More and more I see the next segue that I see it, I think while we have something called business responsibility and sustainability responsibility, which is becoming a BRSR, largely known
BRSL,
as,
right.
has become mandatory for the first 5,000 companies, listed companies. I would not be surprised next 3 years, this becomes a priority and becomes a mandate the way we had CSR. So therefore, you
Right.
make corporate governance, integral part of your business journey. The only way that I look at it, I think it has to become, it will become business integration for sure.
Mhm.
There are plenty of opportunities. Don't look at more like a business opportunity or an employee opportunity. There are plenty of things that you can always do it as part of your journey.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks a lot for the how CSR evolved. So that was great. And just wanted to know more on the India's stance in it. So how India is standing in the development of CSR and at the same time ESG. Because for CSR, I guess India was the first country that mandated CSR, right? But how currently India stands with CSR implementation, the how actually we are doing on grounds, and about ESG as well.
Yeah, so it's a great question to ask in terms of where we are, in terms of what are we doing with respect to the CSR for sure. What's really interesting would be to know that the CSR journey in terms of Indian landscape has really fueled in. I'll not talk so much about the money that has come into it. I
Mhm.
would say that corporates, the private entities who are profit making were it's not about they were only interested in making profits. Let me be clear that I think they were always interested in giving back. But today, what has really happened about it's more about purpose-driven profit. That's really important. Those of you are interested in reading a little more about it, I did publish IB business case on purpose-driven CSR. You can always Google about it as a business case. So therefore, today, once the CSR became an mandatory spending, certainly it has brought in required money for sure. It also brought in a good amount of seriousness within the board that really drives profits today. Today, it's mandatory for boards to have mandatory discussion about CSR commitment for sure. There's an annual action plan that these corporates have to build. There's an approval process in place. There are committees which have been built, structured, and there are also reporting structure that has been built not only about submission to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, but each of the corporates need to share on their website what they have been committed to causes, where the money is going, which partners they have been driving. End of the day, for a certain size of companies, it becomes mandatory to talk about the impact that they created.
Right.
So it's not about the money that has really got into it. Structure has come into it. Seriousness has come in. Board has made accountable to it. Then of course you have got an average. I think each company has one or two such resources who have really come in to take care of this program. And of course, employees have really become part and parcel of that segment, the CSR. The way I look at it, I am sure those of you are interested, the impact point of view. While I say that it's more about governance point of view, that there is a seriousness, from an impact point of view, for sure, there has been a good amount of traction that has been built. You have got good amount of people who are serious about, who are on the fringe in terms of the, hey, I'll do social work. I'll feel good happy about it. Today, corporates and people are thinking alike, saying that, hey, what is sustainability of what we have been doing it? Can we do just one time? Today, I see good number of corporates, majority of them thinking about, let's go beyond one-time CSR engagement to more long-term, build sustainability practices, build assets for within the community so that they own it and take it far from there. Reward and recognition has been part of it. State governments have built their own platforms to more like an approach that they're looking at CSR more like an complementing what they have been doing it. The corporates have become partners in the larger driving sustainable development goals. You have got nationally the national government talking about CSR at a national level and talking about and recognizing the efforts for sure. Yes, there's a traction, there's an approach, seriousness has come in. There's certainly money, the good amount of funding has been there. Lot could be done because it's been a decade. But however, the way I see it over the next 10 years or so, CSR becomes more of a business integration for sure, largely purpose driven. I would not be surprised that this will become part of their, for many companies, this will be part of their ESG journey, which is that they'll not only look at CSR like a division or a department, which is already there. Maybe I foresee the CSR getting integrated into the ESG part of their journey, and then ESG folks driving this more like a business approach rather than a pure compliance part of it.
Okay, great. And when we talk about compliance, actually one very pertinent question that many people ask is, let's say they are working in EHS. It's mandated they have to work, right? So many people ask us that, hey, I'm from EHS background, so how do I shift to the ESG or sustainability? So what would you guide to such people?
Yeah, I think it's an maybe I think for the people who are interested, what does ESS stand? Maybe I can begin. I think it's all
Yeah,
about
sure.
employee environment safety and
Yes.
health.
Right,
There HSC, there are many ways people,
right.
the corporations, private entities really define. So ESH, if you ask me, largely began with manufacturing companies. Who were interested in really reporting the parameters related to the environmental, largely emissions. Safety was largely about what structure they have for employee safety. Health
Right,
is largely about well-being. These were
right,
largely defined around manufacturing sites, which were limited to reporting. These were largely metric that they were reporting. But today, I'm sure those of you, if there are people here from the ESS point of view, I'm sure today the division sits within facilities oblique administrative department, which manages your logistics, people, workplace management. That's where the division is sitting right now, ESH. But
Right.
however, those of who are there in progressive companies are moving from their typical the facilities management towards the ESH or environmental or sustainability team. That's a
Mm-hmm.
focus that I really see today. Because today you cannot say that, hey, I will only limit myself to only reporting. The
Mm-hmm.
reason
Right.
I say that is you're reported. So what next of it? Yes, you're reported your emissions. You're reported about your water usage. You're reported about your what footprint that you have got it. Yes, you're reported in terms of safety aspects of it. You're reported about health initiative. What next of it? It's okay. You're
Mm-hmm.
reported. What next of it? So today, as you are opening doors for the public scrutiny through your disclosures, this division has to move towards ESGs, which is the larger environmental piece. That's number one aspect. Second, I
Mm-hmm.
would also say that if you are master of ESH, we are no more reporting, looking at spreadsheets reporting. You have your building management systems which are in place, those who are in ESH here, which is automated, right? You key in data and it's taken care of it. If you are
Right.
looking pure play of reporting these numbers, you become redundant over 5 years for sure. What is your career plan? What is your career growth next? If you're limiting yourself to only reporting, you really need to look at yourself saying that, hey, anyone with 2 years of experience can replace you. With maybe 3 years of experience can become a manager or take care of this larger piece, which is largely reporting in nature. So therefore, look at how if you are an ESH leader here, and if you're done for 5 to 7 years, or you already into 3 years, look at opportunities in terms of getting your hands dirty, ISO certification. I would say really that's a priority. Don't look at pure numbers for the sake of numbers. Build dashboards, look at the trend analytics, how you can really help your company looking at some of those numbers and you can add value to there. Get yourself trained in terms of ISO for sure, because that really adds value in terms of assessor. There are lots of skill sets that are right now are available with virtual world that's there, learning opportunities. Get yourself trained yourself. Look at how from ESH. I'm not saying that there are no opportunities. I am only saying that I'm not saying that ESH becomes it becomes it's no more. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm only saying that how we can elevate yourself from ESH towards pure play of environmental. If you're ISO certified assessor, or if you're looking at some of those, you can always play a larger role for a corporation, making a little more meaningful opportunities for you. Within your company, there are opportunities. If you're an assessor, there are plenty of third-party assessors that you really become. A good number of industrial bodies have approached and they will approach you, become a third-party assessor to take care of what really you want to really assess in terms of that. The third big thing that I think you can always become a backbone for your company reaching their net zero plan 2040, 2050 in the journey. So therefore, you can always become an integral part of it. Don't look at pure play of numbers. Go beyond those numbers and see how you can really add value there. And those of you who are really interested, look at largely sustainable leaders who are here with 20 years of experience on LinkedIn. See their journey. I'm sure they have started their journey about 15, 20 years back as a ESH reporter, and they really made big. So look at those opportunities, and I'm sure there are opportunities as many.
Yeah, that's a great point. And here one interesting comment that we have from Hindvi. When we say that CSR should be seen as an integrated part in business rather than compliance, could you please explain this more? And I guess we can relate this with similar to EHS as well. So now we are saying that CSR or sustainability or ESG. So we are not seeing it as a separate department or just a few specialized people who will work on it. These concepts would be an integral part of all the operations of the organization, right? So not only CSR but EHS as well. So what are your thought process about this?
Yeah, so the way I see it to the larger audience is about I go back maybe 20, 30 years back. We have seen CSR an opportunity to license to operate. That means
Hmm.
you are establishing a firm. I'll talk about manufacturing, mining, or anything. It's more about you establish a division, which is saying that, hey, I'm here to excavate natural resources and I'll give away certain percentage, or could be in terms of resources, building some assets for the community, saying that, hey, while I know that I'm going to make use of natural resources, it's more like an, I would say that
Social license to operate, maybe.
yeah, it's more like a lessons to operate to your business opportunity. That was a more of a segue to put
Right.
your footprint there. But however, today, I think I'm reading an interesting conversation here about business
Right.
continuity model. So you need to really look at it, say that, hey, I am there as a corporate private entity. I am there. I've established a for profit and make use of resources. Today, I really need to look at it, saying that, hey, how can I make the community, which is
Mhm.
larger piece of what we have been doing it together, being part of the business today? Saying that I not only give away in terms of more like a charity, but
Mhm.
can I create assets that really mutually benefit the community where I'm living? That's number one. It's not
Mhm.
about saying that, hey, see, it cannot be seen, Dhananjay, more like an, it's like tit for tat, saying that, hey, I'm extracting
Mhm.
resources, so therefore I give away. I think it has
Right.
to go beyond that, saying that, hey, let me look at
Mhm.
CSR more holistically, saying that I will build systems and processes that really benefit for the larger good. How
Mhm.
do I really make profits more larger purpose driven in terms of giving away opportunities for the community? I make them part and parcel of my uh, initiative that I drive largely. And also within CSR, I also say about employees. Employees also become your part and parcel of some of these engagements for sure. That's one piece. I think the minute we talk about corporate social responsibility, it becomes more of a challenging term for sure. Maybe it should be a corporate sustainability, opportunity or responsibility should become a
Mhm.
buzzword for sure. Way
Right.
you are making the larger piece, stitching it together, the opportunities and the challenges that are there. Make community part of your initiatives, and also look at how the larger ecosystem, the stakeholders, community, employees, shareholders are integral part of your profit making. Then it really makes sense. Else, one-time initiatives it only stands like a greenwash. I don't want to use the word here. Saying that, hey, 2% is about 10 crores. I've gone ahead, spend the money. It doesn't make any sense for anyone.
Right.
People are smart, your shareholders are smart, your stakeholders are smart. They want to go a little more deeper than your numbers for sure. So therefore, if you don't build a narrative beyond numbers, no one will trust you. I think it's time you need to build narrative that goes beyond your numbers and see how much you can really make them part of your profits. Second, ensure that these giving away are not only pure play of ensuring that you're making only profits, but how can you make them part of your stakeholder engagement? That's really really important. What you have been doing,
Right.
how you're giving back, how your employees been part of it, what well-being aspects are there, how you're giving back to the communities. So that's where really important. I don't want to talk about environmental pieces here for sure, because that's something that's not tangible. People do not really immediately realize it, because the minute you extract natural resources, it's extremely difficult, because there's a natural resources are finite. And I say
Mhm.
that the sustainability part really helps corporates and private entities to really build that momentum over the long term.
Yeah, agree. Uh, and in short, what I understood from your answer is, so when we are talking about CSR or ESG, so we are talking about means are more important than ends. So it's not just about the numbers or how much you have done, but how you have done it. So whether you are all the things, holistic understanding is there or not, and how you are achieving all these, maybe building systems, building the thought process, guiding the people in a right way. So I guess that is important.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
maybe I'll add one aspect if you
yeah,
maybe
please.
those of you are here. I think till about a year back, you only had maybe 3 4 years back, we only had something called annual reports. Typically, the
Hmm.
companies have been the for profit have been publishing their annual reports. I am
Hmm.
sure in India with with the compliance CSR, there has been an addendum called corporate social CSR report. In fact, last 2 years, do pay attention that today we don't no more call annual report. We don't call any more corporate social responsibility report. We are calling it ESG reporting. And you'll be surprised that ESG report does talk about how these profits are being made. So therefore, there is a trajectory. There's certainly for sure incremental, but I'm sure these reportings, annual reporting, which were more largely disclosures, but today uh, companies have really looked into it. It could be a beginning, it could be a symbolic for sure. You cannot expect change to happen overnight. A journey of annual report to CSR reporting to ESG reporting. It's been extremely interesting. So I'll repeat again. The journey of annual reports to CSR report to ESG reporting has been interesting, and this is going to stay for sure. I'm sure, who knows, 2 years, 3 years down the line, we might have a purpose-driven reporting that might come in, or maybe creating shared value reporting that might come in as a more of an interesting way of reporting how you're making profits. Going beyond numbers for sure. When I say numbers, it's about making profits.
Great, great. And I also received one question similar to this actually. So I guess you have answered it. So the question was, CSR is mandated by law, but how do you see BRSR implementation? So I guess you have already answered. But next part is interesting. So I'll just read out and then I'll
Maybe I'll
ask
add
some.
one, two lines on BRSR.
Mhm.
The way I see it, BRSR, I think it's an interesting way of reporting in India. Those of you have heard and read about GRI, because I'm a certified GRI trainer, and I would say the reporting as expert here. I would say that today BRSR is much ahead of the global reporting standards. Number one. Number two, BRSR has two aspects here. Right now, it's made mandatory to begin with for 500, then went to 1,000, then to 2,000. I guess right now it's about for top 5,000 companies. Today, it's make mandatory for more from an basic preliminary reporting. For top 150 companies, it becomes an more core elements that need to be reported. The interesting part of BRSR is about one cannot say it more like an disclosure. The data today, it's dynamic. It means, what does it mean? It means the data that you are furnishing to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs is dynamic. Your reporting parameters are benchmarked automatically to your peers. So therefore, from an investor point of view, your BRSR report becomes more like an tracker or a dashboard for an investor to take a call where they really this company is it really worth investing in this company. So therefore, BRSR becoming mandatory for 5,000 companies. Yeah, it won't be a surprise if this becomes a mandatory for next set of 10,000 companies. Or maybe the journey that I see it, the way we had a CSR mandatory, who knows, it might become BRSR becomes a mandatory for the rest of the companies as well. If it really becomes, I think we have the data point that really triggers many aspects of it. Those of you who are interested, there are 150 odd metrics you need to really report, and not only that, you're benchmarked against your peers. Year on year, these are targeted against your own reporting standards. So therefore, interesting journey. BRSR is going to stay here for sure. Maybe in the next 6 to 8 weeks, if you follow on me on LinkedIn, by June 30th, I should have a paper or something on BRSR for sure. Interesting data point that really going to come for sure.
Great, great, great. One contrary viewpoint I got, I'll just message it for all. Okay. We would like to know more on how this kind of reporting will add value to the stakeholders, all the stakeholders, or is it a cost burden to companies to comply this ESG laws? Apart from those 5,000 companies, how do you see ESG consulting in India? So maybe we are talking about MSMEs or the other organizations apart from the top listed companies. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know who asked, but interesting. I stepped back when I explain this. I want to explain about the CSR Act itself about 10 years back. Because we were part and parcel of that journey, 2013, if I look at 10 years back. When this act was mandated, there was always pessimism say that would really companies take this forward? Because we did not have CSR experts then.
Right.
Nor we had a structure in place. Not we have any agencies or consultants who really can help us. Today, over the 10 years, show me a company that does not have division called CSR or does not have one or two resources, when I say resource, people to take care of the CSR engagements. Today, I can watch based on my own understanding, more empirical data that says that at least 90% of companies are already overspending beyond the 2% for sure. At least in my own journey in last 3 companies that I've moved in last 10 years, have spent beyond 2%. Always had more than 1% as a team member part of my CSR journey. So therefore, the spend has happened.
Great.
The question being asked around the CSR, again, I'll elaborate a little
How
more.
it will add value to all the
I'll come
stakeholders.
to that.
Yeah.
I'll come to that. Today, within the CSR, I'll add on the ESG. Today, you got consultants who are helping CSR journey. Today, there is no company that does not promote employee volunteering part of their CSR. This employee volunteering becomes an engagement opportunity for the corporates. So what better way than to create that value for your employees? In that, hey, we are giving back, you become part and parcel. That's more of a CSR part. Now,
Right.
I'll talk about ESG journey. Let's not look at ESG pure play from in terms of the environmental. Let's look at ESG more holistic, which is environmental, social, which is not just about CSR, but going beyond your parameters of pay parity, gender, diversity, human rights. There are plenty of other data points that we talk about. Governance, not just about disclosures, but also about how you are giving, how you're also making profits about it. Now, when I say it's become mandatory for the first 2,000 to 5,000 companies that made mandatory, one thing for sure, it's going to have a value for investors. So when you really want to make money, you need money. Investors need to really flock together. So their BSR or ESG journey really gives you vis-a-vis without making much effort. The minute you disclose your BRSR when it's furnished, you are going to benchmark against your peers. What better way to attract investors in that, hey, I'm good with ABCD against my competitors. If you are low, you have an opportunity to progress further. That's from an investor point of view. Now, I'll also talk about it. Do we really see in terms of, are there any opportunities for CSR? BRSR has just become a mandatory over last year or so. This is the second year of it. Those of you quickly look at my book. I actually began my book because there is shortfall about, if I rightly remember a report, 70,000 shortfall of 70,000 professionals in this world. In India per se, I'll talk about it, who really want to make the journey into ESG. We don't have people in this space at all. You don't find ESG professionals. You see ESG professionals largely environmental, who moved from ESH towards the reporting point of view. You have people who are within this place, within the segment called CSR, who are taking up community. Your HR folks coming to the gender parity inclusion, but who is reporting your human rights? Do you have people in your company that take care of the larger social piece? Let's talk social, not just pure play of CSR. Talk about the other parameters of social. Now, within governance, well, I'll talk about saying that, hey, the governance is largely about making your board as an accountable. How many people are there in your company? So if I look at today, if I look at ESG portion, you need minimum safety part of it, which is really, really important. Those of you are interested, please look at BRSR reporting pure play. Look at some of the large companies in India, how they are reported. You will be surprised. You do not have people holistic understanding of the ESG space. So therefore, if you really want to have an understanding of ESG space, you need to have people who have the larger understanding of the ESG space, all the three aspects of it. You cannot work in silos. You can't say that, hey, I'm an environmental specialist and I only look at the emissions part of it. You as a CSR lead want to get into this space, you can't just say that, hey, I only look at the community space. You need to get into thick of things, say that, hey, let me work in the HR. Let me look at human rights point of view. Let me work with a safety person point of view, say that lead point of view. How my safety risk has been taken care, what has been incidents, what has been proactively I'm doing it. You need to work beyond looking at your board responsible for CSR, but go beyond our disclosures within the governance space. So therefore, you need to look at integration for sure. Now I'll talk about, do we have people? We don't have. We have consultants approach right now. All companies want to have in-house capacity. Well, I know that consultant space is their availability, opportunities are there. But if you really want to build it, today, I think a week back, if I remember, you only had CSR as a capacity building program. If I rightly understand, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, I
Right.
think
Recently,
a
I've
week or
launched, I
2 weeks
guess,
back.
for ESG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a week or 2 weeks back has offered a course ESG. I guess that's the first one which has been offered. And again, I'm repeating, that's been offered for free. So therefore, don't look at in silos. The opportunities really will come in. Don't look at saying that, hey, no, environmental piece will manage my facilities team. The social part will be managed by corporate social responsibility piece. My governance will be managed by the CFO team. No, you need to have someone to manage, bring in, integrate all the three aspects. Someone, you need an expert. And I see an opportunity of CF opportunities. And today I really feel proud there, because I am the one who really moved the journey. Those of you, you can always look at my LinkedIn profile and see, I really moved someone from a grassroots to CSR to ESG. That has been my journey. Today, if I'm able to make it, I'm sure those of you who are interested can really make it big for sure.
Great, great, great. So understanding what value that these initiatives will generate and how we are adding value to it as well. So it's really important. Yeah, wonderful. So next, two very interesting questions actually. One question I got it previously from Siddesh. So the question was, how can we make sure that the solutions that ESG or CSR interventions are bringing in, so these are not symptomatic solutions, and these have a more sustainable impact. So this was one question. So if you would like to comment on that.
Can you repeat? Maybe I
Yeah,
can.
sure. Sure. I'm asking it because what you discussed just now recently for the previous question, it was related to understanding holistically what an organization is doing, right? What other functions are doing. So in a similar manner, so if we discuss about the long-term impact of ESG or CSR, so how we can ensure that these are not only symptomatic solutions, and these are the long-term sustainable solutions that we are providing for the society. So how any organization can ensure that?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so I don't know who asked, but for sure, I think that maybe I'll address in three different ways when I look at the CSR, the sustainability aspect. One, sure, that it's time that the CSR is no more a charity, or it's a
Mhm.
one-time engagement. CSR has become more like an opportunity for you to reach out to communities where you have never reached out to. That's one aspect. So therefore, it gave you. Maybe I'll repeat. It's more like an going beyond the license to operate, to going beyond saying that, hey, nothing wrong making profits as long as you're making profits with a purpose. That's one portion of it.
Right.
Second portion of it, while those of you might disagree with me, saying that, hey, it made mandatory, so therefore the companies are spending money about it, or maybe it became a part of their uh, practice. It's not about how really it happened. Look at the end of it. Today, CSR was which was seen more like a charity, has become part and parcel of your board discussions.
Right.
Board is keen about how much money you're making profits, how much money is going, and how the money has been spent. The biggest thing within this also has happened about it. Those of you who have asked, please look at some of the big companies. It's become a mandatory for them to disclose how the CSR money is being spent, how the impact has been created. So therefore, we have moved the needle from mandatory reporting to impact. The needle has really moved there. But again,
Right.
I would like to, there's always, don't look at saying that, hey, from a country, the country that we are into it, and the large scale diversity that we have, don't look at saying that it's only a private entity's problem to solve bigger problems. It's more about cohesive, comprehensive solution that have to really bring it to solve the bigger problems.
Right.
And sustainable development goals are not the ones which are going to solve overnight. It will not take year or two. It will take decades to really solve the bigger problems. A country like ours, which was we were right behind in terms of the poverty, we had plenty of challenges there. From food scarcity today, we are food surplus country.
Right.
From not having enough literacy to today, we are almost universal rate of the literacy for sure. There is no school which is not within the 2 kilometers of radius. Primary school, I'm talking about it. I'm
Right.
sure we also become the progressive in terms of today. There is no state government which has not offered English medium schools, right? So from a vernacular medium, we have moved away to the English medium. So we are addressing some of these ambitions which people have been making. So therefore, look at some of these solutions. Do not expect corporates alone to solve a problem. Today, corporates have become integral part of solving sustainable development goals. Look at that way. Today, let's look at Swachh Bharat initiative, where corporates have become part and parcel of it. Let's look at the problem of clean Ganga, where corporates have been integral part of it. Look at some of the waste management solution where respective municipal corporations have good amount of support from the for-profit engagements where they have come forward and sitting and supporting, right? So therefore, it's really, really important for you to look at. So look at some of those, whether the corporates have been being part of the integral part of some of the largest solution that they are building it. Now I'll talk about those of you are aware of it. Again, I'm talking about, see, we are only talking about a one minuscule opportunity where the for-profit are coming in, addressing some of those challenges. Let's look at the way the CSR engagement itself has really moved. Those of you are maybe you're quite young. I'm an older here, I guess, with 20, 25 years of experience. When you look at the Schedule 7 of CSR Act, which was largely about engagement, but today, last 2-3 years, look at the amendments. Today, CSR money can be used for funding social initiatives, startups, business incubators, R&D. In fact, COVID really helped us putting money there in terms of it. So therefore, so CSR is not merely as a one-time community engagement, building schools, creating some hospitals. No, this has gone beyond. Today, the money has been pushed towards providing grant money, seed grants to startups, R&D towards building white papers. So there's a bigger world. So look at that. Start reading about annual reports, and you'll be surprised where the money has been spent. So that's where I see it, the integration is happening, and corporate alone cannot solve India's larger challenges. You have to look at more from an angle how corporates have become integral part of the biggest solving the bigger challenges for sure.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. So I'll just read one more comment actually. So which is related to design as a effective role in ESG reporting. Tirtha has asked this question. So Tirtha, I would just like to understand more of a question. So whether you are talking about design in terms of let's say product or process, or is it something else that you want to ask? But I'll just read out her question. Can design play an effective role in ESG reporting? If so, can you please share some successful examples where design has played a key role in driving positive social or environmental impact for a company's CSR or ESG goals? So it's
yeah. So I think I guess you must be talking about the reporting part of it within the ESG. I guess I'm assuming. If not, so you can always elaborate further in the chat. I would say look at Tata's the latest report, which is to come with the previous year's report. Please look at Tata Automobile, Tata Motors. Look at their ESG report. You will be shell-shocked. They are already talking about circular economy. They're talking circularity as part of their annual report. So don't assume saying that, hey, whether they saying that, hey, other corporates are doing. So that's where I'm saying, I think you need to see more incremental. So you need to give that benefit of doubt, right? As I said, again, I'll repeat what I've repeated, Dhananjay, from annual report, CSR report, ESG report to and circularity report. Look at the incremental or the transformation that we are seeing it. So therefore, the BRSR or otherwise the reporting standards will evolve over the time. Maybe I can always do another session about some of those 5-6 companies who have been brilliantly reporting their ESG reports. You'll be really shell-shocked saying that, hey, how come these sustainability reporting are in place? You'll be shell-shocked in terms of the way they are reported using the infographics. You'll be surprised the way they really reported. It's beautiful. I really give kudos to their communication and sustainability team to invest so much in time to build such reports. You will be really surprised saying that, hey, how much, I'm not talking about the money, but effort that has really gone into it. So therefore, if the report is so beautifully written using infographic, I'm sure these companies are doing. So build the trust quotients in the companies. So that's where I say that. So when I say that license to operate, that's where I think the CSR and ESG are going to wash away the trust, low trust questions. Is in that corporates are only making profits. Their main motive is only about profits at the cost of something else. No, corporations, the private entities are making profits with a purpose for sure.
Right.
Scratch the surface, look into their reports, you'll be surprised. Tata's, I can always give about Tata Motors. Look at it, you'll be surprised. There are many other, but Tata Motors is something that I read through in detail. I can watch for the report. You'll be surprised.
Sure, definitely,
I'll,
definitely.
I'll quickly look at, I think, similar to things, something I read here, Pankaj, no, not Pankaj, I think, maybe. I think, Pankaj, I'll only reserve about this, saying that 65% is going back money to CSR. I can watch with my own empirical evidences. No, it's not certainly true. I think we need to really scratch the surface and see it. How much money? See how much is CSR money? Let me put it that way. 2% of the net profits. Does it 2% per net profit flowing back to a company makes any difference? Absolutely not. Today, companies are spending beyond 2% in terms of their CSR initiative. So therefore, I don't think this will have any value in terms of going back to company, because I'm sure those of you are here today. The CSR 2%. I think there are about 80% MSMEs are contributing the money. It's adding value. So therefore, I will brush this question saying that it's going back. I don't think so. But there's an
And I would
interesting
also
thing.
like to add one thing over here. So as you see, Government of India also coming up with CSR Act, the Section 135. Then we have many amendments and many initiatives as government is bringing in. First is impact assessment. So it's not about just spending. Show us how much impact you have generated, how you are working. Second thing is, if you are aware that we have now Form CSR 1, which means that every NGO, every implementation agency has to fill it. Okay. So there is a tracking from government, how much money is being spent and how much organizations or NGOs received. And I'm very sure going forward in coming, let's say 2 to 5 years, this data will be uh, evaluated and somewhere it will be checked. The way CSR has evolved, so definitely this is the next step that you will see being implemented in India. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting question being asked by Arkajyoti, if I rightly get the name. Yeah. So this was, I think, very specific. It's so important to look at. Um, Please read through it. I think you are in the right juncture. I think the question, I think I'm sure people can read about it. Very, very interesting space that you are in. I think lots of things are going to happen in this space for sure. Look at some of the aspects. I'll give an example, Arkajyoti, for you. Today, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras have something called School of Sustainability. Just read about it. You'll really feel good about what you've been doing and what kind of opportunities are there. I leave it here, Arkajyoti. I'll not address in detail because I'm not too sure if there are any other engineers, but look at some of these departments, what they have been doing. They are bringing all other departments put together to build sustainable world for all of us. So look at it. You are in the right space. Read about it. I'm sure you can make huge difference for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so here we comes to last 5 minutes of the session. So if anybody would like to add their insights or if you like to just unmute and speak or ask you a question or anything, you can. Because we have taken a lot of questions. It's just like a rapid fire round. Only questions and answers. Yeah. And yeah, so Nirbhay's book is launched, I guess, in February, if I'm correct, right?
No,
February
March.
2024. March. Okay. So just last month. So and it's a wonderful book. So a link you can see in the chat. So yeah, definitely it's a wonderful read because I can vouch from the chapter 1 that I have read. So yeah. So please, you can. If you would like to speak or share your insights, please, everyone, you can. This is open invitation for you all.
Hello, I'm audible. Can I
Yes.
go?
Yes, please
Yes,
go
Abhinav.
ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, hi, Nirbhay. Thanks for the wonderful session. It's really so insightful and to know And thanks, Dhananjay, for organizing it. We are really looking for some kind of these sessions. So I just one question I want to understand, like in the initial phase of a career, like what you suggest, like to work as a part of consultancies and work towards multiple companies, or to work as a CSR profession or as a ESG professional within one company and working in a holistic way for that one company. So how, what do you suggest?
Yeah, so I didn't get your name.
Yeah, my name is Aman Ojha. I'm working in Niva Bhupa as a ESG manager. Yeah.
Yes, thanks for asking. I think there is no it's there's no straightforward answer for sure, because the way we look at it is that, say, for sure, consultants have their own way of doing things, right? It's more about I will be on the fringe or I'll be on the peripheral and I'll guide a company to reach their ESG journey. And there is also a journey about someone like you who wants to get hold of things, right? You as a leader want to get hold of things and drive the initiative at a large scale. Consult, see, I am not too sure what's your goal in terms of where you want to reach there. But my personal view has been that someone who's been to the journey, I have taken a route of saying that I want to uh, grow as a leader in this space. So therefore, I picked up all the three aspects of ESG together. And today I am able to drive the ESG journey for my company. So therefore, this is much more satisfying for me because I can work with my consultants and say, you guide me how to do it about it. I will. So being a consultant, you are on you're like a cat on the wall. You can only guide and you are not part of a success story. But if you're an ESG leader, you're part of a success story. You are, end of the day, you always have a story to tell to people. As part of the no leader here, you can always become a consultant at a later stage. A consultant might not become a full-time leader. I'm not say again, this is more of a generic I'm talking about. But if you are a leader here, you can always become a consultant. So there are more opportunities being a leader, saying that, hey, I proved something, I'll guide you others. It's my personal opinion, by the way.
Sure, this really helpful, and thanks for that understanding. That really helps.
Great, Aman.
Oh, just a minute. I was muted. Yeah, thanks a lot for that answer. And in similar lines, I guess one question asked by Ashish Kumar Panigrahi, who is talking about, let's say, he is from programming background, so how that will add value to the ESG and all. Yeah, so what I would like to add over here is, so whatever is your, let's say, strength, whatever you like to do, so please explore that. It's not like there is a scope in some other sector or some other way. So you should jump into that. It's not like that. So whatever you want to do, you can just explore it. Uh, be, I guess, better in that whatever you're doing, and then you can see some synergistic approaches, so where you can use your strength to achieve that target. So that's already always there, so I guess you can explore that uh, that thing as well. Yeah.
You have someone, Siddesh, or someone is
Yeah,
asking.
I was. So I have a question. Like, see, I belong from an diversified background. I was into evaluation also. I have an experience in AI also. So I belong from a technology background basically. So my question is, I go through a lot of ethical dilemma, right? When I'm in AI, I see a lot of energy consumption is used by AI. Like if you see the recent chat GPT and all, the kind of energy it is using is like beyond and businesses are adopting like crazy without thinking. So my question is an holistic question. If the business wants to make profit, and since they are driven by more by competition than by vision of sustainability, they are thinking about, okay, I want to beat my competitor. If I don't apply AI, my competitor will apply AI, and I will lose into the competition. So uh, will having a vision of sustainability and this ESG, CSR, everything can help the organization to be, mindful about how much consumption they are doing, whether that is really needed, how detailed they go into this. That's the thing I'm, constantly thinking, because they are like all in, like I have to use AI because without that I can't do anything, right? So that's they're not mindful.
True that, yeah.
So
I think
yeah,
with the AI coming in, I'm sure we are also talking about something called green IT. Yeah, there is always opportunities are there. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for those inputs. Yeah, over to you, Nandy.
Yes. Thanks a lot, everyone, for adding your perspective. So, last 1 minute, if anybody would like to add their insight about the session or anything they would like to say. Yes, perfect. So, if nothing, then we can stop here. And it was wonderful to get the insights of CSR and ESG at such a depth. Thank you so much for this wonderful session, Nirbhay, and all the best for your book. And I'm very sure that it would be helpful for a lot of people who aspire to get success into CSR and ESG. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Thanks,
thanks,
Dhananjay.
Dhananjay, for hosting.
Thanks for
Thanks
your
so much.
effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.